I recently covered the leaf twig razor, which is the sibling or the milder sibling of this leaf Thorn razor, which I'm going to be covering today. I'm going to share some stuff about the features and design of this, and obviously run through a demo shave. The only difference between the leaf twig and the leaf Thorn is a blade gap on the leaf Thorn is 0.2 millimeters larger, so it's supposed to be a more aggressive razor. The Thorn's more aggressive than what the leaf Thorn is, leaf twig is. So the company Leaf are kind of saying that this razor, the leaf twig, is aimed towards those that like a milder shave, and for those that have more coarser hair and longer growth, then the leaf Thorn may be suitable for them. These leaf razors were kind of designed for bridging the gap or helping guys that want to switch from multi-blade razors to safety razors and making it a little bit easier. These leaf razors are single edged, so unlike a double edged razor like this DE89, Muller DE89, this only has one single edge. Plus it's designed where it's already got kind of 30 degrees angle, so it has the potential to make that transition from a multi-blade razor much easier than a safety razor or a double-edged safety razor. And the biggest selling point of these is for guys that wish to save a little bit of money on those multi-blade razors. With no multi-blade razor, replacements cartridges are quite expensive. Now of course, buying these blades here, these double-edged razor blades, and snap them in half, which I'll show you a little bit later, we can save a hell of a lot of money. However, there are some howevers, and maybe this razor, like any other razor, is not going to suit everybody. So hopefully this video will give you enough information to take away to decide whether these potentially are going to be a razor you'd like to use. The overall length of the leaf Thorn is pretty much the same as a Muller R89, which is kind of standard for safety razors. It's about 101 millimeters in length, around about 4 inches, and it weighs around about 68 grams. So it's got a little bit of weight to it, and that's kind of standard as well for a safety razor. I think the Muller is maybe slightly more, not much difference. One thing I noticed the difference with the weight of these is that this is very bottom heavy. I mean, usually I can put a safety razor there. Oh, I can balance it, yeah. Oh, I can. I did not think I would. I thought this end was going to slope down, but you can see the way this is designed, it kind of tapers up there. It's like a bow there. It has some grip on the side at the top there and grip at the bottom. However, this grip is kind of lined. It does help provide some grip. However, I would prefer kind of like a knurled design on that section there and that section there. That would just make it that little bit more grippier, because these lines, you know, the finger and the thumb can still kind of slide down if it gets wet and you know, soap lava gets on there. Yeah, back to the weight. Yeah, so I find these a little bit more bottom heavy compared to other DE razors like this Muller R89, which seems a little bit more balanced. And if anything, the heads are more heavier on this type of razor, which to me gives a little bit more assistance with the shave. The weight of this does give some assistance, but I don't know if you can see the way it's wobbling in my hand. It means that there's more we have to do with our fingers there, if that kind of makes sense. A good beginner friendly design on this is that to replace the blades on these, now it does come with a pack of 10 leaf razors, razor blades, single edge razor blades. Now I don't use them. I used them once, that wasn't for me. I use other razor blades, and what I do is I get a DE razor blade and I snap it in half. But to remove the razor blade, it's pretty easy. We just undo the bottom of the razor. You undo that, and this all opens up. You see the top of this just twists round, and it completely opens up. This exposes the blade area, and as you can see, I've got a blade inside there. And now this section has a little bit of this has magnetic. It's magnetic, yeah. So when we put another razor blade in there, it just slips in there, and the magnetic aspect helps that. Right, so let's get a razor blade. I'm going to use a Persona Platinum for this shave because I have used the original ones, the leaf razors. I've used Derby, pretty good. I used Feather, now pretty good, but a little bit aggressive for me. Why have I just done that blade out there? We should not do that. I've got to snap it first. And I wanted to go in between. Persona for me are in between Feather and something like Derby or Astra. So I wanted to try this out. Right, so there we have a DE blade. So I just snap that, you hear a click and a click, and that gives us half a blade, which is a single edge blade, like what we get from leaf. And then we just pop that blade, half a blade, inside that section there. That's it, just sits in there nicely, very easy. Then just wind it down, and there's no need to worry about any sort of blade alignment on this. It kind of it just lines up nicely already, so yeah, pretty easy to do. Okay, so let's get a shave on. For this shave, I've got around about 2 days of growth. Let's get a close up there. I've got about 48 hours of growth there. I usually do a demo shave on around about 3 days. I thought, no, I need to crack on. I've got a hell of a lot of videos to be catching up on and reviews on the website. So 2 days is pretty good. I can say that I've shaved on over 3 days of growth with both of these leaf razors, and they work very good with that. Yeah, even though they're slightly mild, they're very good with over 3 days of growth. And just keep in mind that my growth is coarse. I'm 53 years old now. My growth is extremely coarse compared to 5-10 years ago. Yeah, the last few years it's become very coarse, so it's worth just keeping that in mind, what type of face, skin and hair growth that I have. My skin can be sensitive at times on the neck. I can pick up the nicks here and there. I'm not extremely sensitive, so I can usually do a free pass shave as well. So let's get to it. Get a bit of water on my face. I've already had a scrub down, but I'm going to get my face wetted first. I've got a bowl down here, which I'm going to do. Bowl and all my stock gear is down here because I don't like to do these videos anymore in the bathroom, because there's just so much stuff that is a pain in the arse. Keeping all the electrical stuff in there as well. I'm just like, no, this can't be right. If something goes wrong here with the electrics and water, I'm in trouble. So I make a setup here. We're a little bit wetted up there. Now what I'm going to do is use some of this Truefitt and Hill pre-shave first. Yeah, I'm into using my pre-shaves. I know some guys don't need to use them or believe that you should not need them, but you know what? If you find a difference with using them, like I do, then use them. I don't always. This has a lovely citrusy scent. It's really nice, but it doesn't clash with when you put shaving lava on, shaving cream or soap. I should let that soak in while I whip up a lava. I'm going to be using this Truefitt and Hill Apsley shaving soap. I've used a fair bit of this now. Yeah, I've really got into this soap and I like it. It's a mild sort of masculine, sandally woody type scent, but it's not overpowering scent. I think I'm just going to face lava today. I don't think I'm going to get this soap or lava into a bowl. Yeah, I'm going to try and whip it up without doing that. Put way too much water on here, so I'm getting loads of suds. Maybe I will transfer that to the bowl actually. I'd say that was about done. Plenty of lava there. Let's get this painted on. Because I'm using pre-shave oil, it's good that I use the bowl anyway, because I don't have to rub the brush around on the face too much after I've already put pre-shave oil on. Very mild this scent is. A bit too mild for my liking if I fancy some scent. I can enjoy scent whilst I'm shaving, you know, it's kind of just, it's not for the after scent really, it's more just enjoying it while I'm shaving. Feels pretty mild. I've used these now a good few times, these leaf razors, so I'm kind of got very used to them now. A little bit tricky at first. I mean, one thing with this type of razor, the leaf razor, is it will kind of keep that angle where I find that with DE razors, what I like about DE razors is that I get a bit more control, where I can change the angle somewhat, where this in a way is positive that it's set at this 30 degrees, but then it don't give any sort of freedom with it as well, if that makes sense. Which is really nice actually on 2 days of growth. Yeah, it's surprising that extra day makes so much difference in making it easier. But I can't shave with razors. I dislike shaving with razors daily and having very little growth. It just causes irritation. I just don't feel the benefit of what I've shaved up. But 48 hours like this, yeah, really good. I found it's a fairly safe razor. Good name, good word for safety razor, isn't it? But I can get nicks, slight nicks and that, and that's probably something to do with something on the skin rather than anything about, you know, kind of my shaving technique, maybe. Excuse me while I open my mouth. This is what I do to get this line here. Do a little bit more lava on there actually, some more soap. Okay, we've got 5, but it's drying up. Okay, let's see where we're at. Okay, first pass done, let's get some more lava on. I just noticed picking this up, see there was a bit of slippiness. There's a bit of slippiness with my fingers there. You know, even though we do have that grip down, that's why I mentioned it being knurled would be better, because this line grip here, the lines go down, so we can still go, the fingers can slide down. If it was knurled, the fingers would stay put. Anyway, I'll give it a dry off. Well, not really a dry off, that's soaking wet, so we're going to dry it off with that. Okay, let's use a towel. That'll dry it up. Alright, I'm going to go across the face. I won't say across the grain, because my grain goes that way and that way, so it's kind of somewhere against the grain in a way. So yeah, these are definitely less of a learning curve using these than what it is for a standard DE razor. However, the jury's out for me whether it's worth having one of these, then transitioning to a DE razor, or just going straight to a mild DE razor like a Muller R89 like this, or Merca 34C, because people are still going to have to edge towards learning how to use a proper DE razor. But yeah, maybe it does bridge that gap, or it helps. It might even be that some guys that use DE razors, you know, start to, you know, would like to give one of these a go and enjoy shaving. It is actually an enjoyable shaving tool. One of my biggest problems with lava is drying up too quick. And if I add more water, it's too foamy. One area that this is pretty good at, or one thing this is pretty good at doing. Now, a double DE razor can be tricky to shave underneath the nose until you get used to doing that. But with this, because the head is slightly slimmer, it does make it somewhat easier. Excuse why I open my mouth a little again. I'm going to put a little bit more lava on there now. I don't want it drying out too much on my neck and then me picking up irritation. Okay, let's wet the face again, see where we're at. I've still got store patches there that I want to get rid of. I mean, maybe some guys can stop there if they don't want to get any irritation or avoiding irritation. But yeah, I want to have closer shade than that. A little less lava on this pass. Okay, let's go upwards. A bit longer strokes than when I first started. Overall, a very enjoyable shave. It just goes to show, doesn't it, that when with certain razors and that we need to, sometimes you need to have a few shaves to really make a decision on it. It was my first shave and I was like, oh no, I don't know about this, I'm not sure I like this razor, because it's been so used to the DE razors, the standard DE razor. A bit cautious there, going up against the grain there, so definitely can pick up nicks. It's nick territory. Right, okay, let's get some water on my face, see where we're at. Right, I can feel some minimal patches around. Let's get a little bit of lubrication on my face and go around the face searching for little bits of leftovers that need tidying up. This isn't anything that is about this razor, this is just me in general with any razors and shavers. You know, I have to do some touching up afterwards. This is always an area that I have a patch left. I've got a little nick there, a little nick with the Allen block should block that off. Get rid of that little bit of bleeding, a little bit of stubble there, but I have to be very cautious here because this is irritation territory. But here I'll just go very light, just to get them little bits. That's me trying to perfect the closeness. A BBS shave, as I say. Baby but smooth. Okay, I think job done. Let's wet my face and get rid of all this lubrication. I'm just going to put a bit of Allen block on my face. For afterwards, all I use is Allen block, which is just one of the standard ones like this. Run that over the face for a few seconds or so. Yes, as I said, I've really taken more to these leaf razors. Yeah, they are very, very easy to use, and yeah, I've just got to enjoy a shave a bit more. So with the leaf and the Thorn shaver, there's the Thorn, it's a leaf. I do notice a slight difference in the more aggressiveness of this razor, but it's not huge. This time I used that Persona blade, and I think that's the blade for me. The the feather felt a little bit too aggressive and the derby didn't feel like it was doing enough. And I've got a little nick there, a little nick there, a nick there. The only other thing that I put on once my face has dried out is some of this witch hazel, Thayer's witch hazel. Now, using witch hazel and alum block, they're both astringents, so it could dry up the skin too much. However, my skin is generally quite oily, so astringent and these type of post shavings are excellent for my skin. I don't need I don't need balms and anything adding to the oiliness. You know, once I've got that, and then spray some aftershave on, or pat some aftershave on, and that's it. I'm ready to go. With the Thayers, I'll just chuck a splash of it on my hand and just rub it over my face. This one's unscented, so I like it to be unscented, so less chemicals going into the skin. I don't want it to clash with any aftershave that I use. Well, that's about it. I don't think there's much else to say on that matter, is there? The video says it all. What I do have coming up is I've also got the Leaf 2 razor. You might have seen I've done the Leaf original razor review. I've got the Leaf 2 razor review coming up, so I'll do a head shave with that, plus a facial shave, because they say it can be used for facial shaving, so we'll be doing that. Plus I finally got another Rex Ambassador adjustable shave razor, very expensive, so I'm going to be doing a shave and review on that. And there's a bunch of other stuff coming up with my electric shaving stuff and body grooming stuff, so yeah, stay tuned. If you haven't subscribed as yet, hit the subscribe button, you'll get notification when the video is live. Thank you for watching, guys. Have a great day.